Welcome to Be a Voice. This is Brick Carpenter on Usula Media. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm really excited about our show because I'm sitting here with somebody who is a pretty special person to me and means a lot. It does a lot of good things here for the community, as a voice for the community, has been part of the Philadelphia community for quite some time, and is probably a face that's very familiar to most of you. She is none other than the 6 ABC anchor, Christie Ileto. Hi, Christie.
Happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm happy to finally get on this chair.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's a long time coming.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, you have a busy schedule. You have a busy life.
For sure.
You know, so to be able to do that. I mean, the last time we spoke on the podcast, I mean, we speak a lot, but when we spoke on the podcast was during COVID.
Whoa, is it that long?
It was that long ago because it was also, life was a little different.
Zoom?
It was via Zoom. You were actually just recently a new mother at the time.
Dark times.
It's dark times?
Dark times.
Dark times. We'll talk about that.
That was a dark year.
Dark year. And that was 2020.
That's why it was a dark year.
Yeah. A lot of stuff happened then. A lot of craziness. A lot of craziness went down that year. But, you know, I know who you are. I've known you now, and I was actually calculating that in my head the other day. It's almost 8 years.
Has it been 8 years?
Since we met, yeah. Since
How
that
did
first
we
time.
meet? Was it the pastor in...
We met through
Mark?
Brother Phil.
Oh, Phil?
Brother Phil and Tammy. But Brother Phil, you were looking to do a story on one of the issues here in Kensington.
Yeah.
Brother Phil said
My favorite neighborhood, by the way.
Oh, it is. And we're going to talk about that too, because you are an advocate for the neighborhood. And that's what I love about you. And that's why I gravitated towards you, because being who I am and what I do on the streets, talking to the media sometimes is...
It's hard.
Yeah.
And you really have to work to get people to trust you. I mean,
Absolutely.
always. I think in any situation you have to get people to trust you, but especially when you're going into vulnerable neighborhoods and vulnerable communities, you can't just stick a camera or a mic in somebody's face. And I felt like I had to do a little bit more in explaining what I wanted for the angle of our story. I can't even remember what it was, though. Was it about the safe injection sites?
I don't know. That one was, we were down on the avenue, and it was you and Mike put the drone up for it.
Mike's the best.
He is.
Literally the
Mike
best.
is really the great guy. Great cameraman. Great MMJ at that. I really think it was maybe for one of the drug busts on the...
Was that what it was?
Who knows?
Oh, yeah, you're right. It was something about the U.S. attorney had seized some amount of money at like the port. And drugs worth a certain amount of money at the port.
I think it was cocaine.
It was cocaine, and I think it also was fentanyl.
Yeah.
And it was when like the fentanyl was being, I mean, now it's everywhere, but it was when it was
It's
really...
not even fentanyl anymore.
I know it's not. It's Tranker or something else now. But at the time, this was a big deal, and they wanted me to talk to somebody about what was happening in Kensington and what this meant. And again, I mean, it was also at night. I used to report at night.
It was at night.
Which is like a different beast in terms of trying to get man on the street or people on the street, which we call MOS or POS. I had to make so many phone calls about that. I was like calling everybody that I knew that in that neighborhood, and they were like, well, I can't do it, but this guy can. And you were like, what do you want?
I was too. I had an attitude. I admit it. I'm the first. Well, also because, like I said, you know, as a person in long-term recovery and a person who does the work I do with the most vulnerable, talking to the media, I had to really select it about that. And, you know, but I knew your reputation. You know, you'd only been here in Philly.
I had people vouch for me.
What's that?
I had people vouch for me.
You did?
I only think I'd been there for like a year and a half.
2 years.
Was it 2 years?
Yeah, because you got here in 2016-ish.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So, and it was 2018, and I had known your reputation because you came into 6 ABC doing the late news. You were doing the evening. You were on the evening shift for quite some time. But like I said, I know who you are as Christie Ileto. I know you as a friend and as an anchor here, and you were one of the top journalists when you were in the field, and now you're one of the top anchors in what you do.
So nice.
And, well, it's the truth. But who is Christie Ileto?
In like my work capacity or just in life?
In life, in general, yeah. I mean, people can turn on the news and they can see you and they know that. And, you know, people see you on the streets and they think they know you.
You know, I think that's something that actually I've been kind of like struggling with lately, because my husband was saying to me, he's like, you know, what is your purpose? And I was like, what do you mean? In work capacity or in life capacity? And he's like, overall, like in your life, which encompasses like your family and your job and just everything that you do. He's like, what is your purpose? And I was like, well, I don't know, because I feel like when I'm at work, it's to be a storyteller and to bear witness to history and like current events and like inform my community. But in my personal life, it's to be a mom and a provider. And he's like, my purpose is to provide for my family. He's like, that's what my purpose is. Like, that's what motivates me. That's how I do my job. That's how I do, you know, like my life among the four of us. And he's like, you need to figure out what your purpose is in every aspect and not just compartmentalize like, oh, it's this at work, it's this. And so I feel like I've been, you know, I was like, well, yeah, maybe I guess my purpose in life is also to provide for my family because that's why I go to work. But yeah, I mean, he's very clear on like, this is what I do and this is what motivates me and this is why I, you know, make the decisions that I make. And so now I'm trying to figure out like, okay, what is my overall purpose?
It's interesting. It's interesting that
it's hard.
But he has it nailed because he understands. Like he has his purpose is to provide for his family, and everything else is umbrellaed underneath it.
Which is so different from how I have seen things in my whole life, I guess, at this point. Which is because I always identify as like I'm a journalist. And
You're
then,
very black and white.
Right. I'd be like, I'm a journalist. And then when I became a mom, I was like, and then I'm a mom.
Now I'm a mom. But
like
I'm a
most people,
and a mom.
Most people would say, I'm a mom first. I'm a wife. This is my job. And for me, it was like, this is my job. This is how I identify. These are the other things that I do. Those other people.
It's funny you say that too, because you are first and foremost a journalist.
I know, but like, so that's the thing is I'm really trying to learn how to prioritize the more important thing, which is the little people and my spouse. I mean, not that I don't prioritize them, but again, when somebody's like, what do you do? Who are you? It's like, I always say, oh, I worked at a and it's like, yeah, but why are you here at this school? Oh, I'm so-and-so's mom.
Right. So you don't realize that because you're like, I'm Christie Ileto.
I talk to everybody. Like when I talk to my my daughter's friends' parents, all of them are like, I'm so-and-so's mom. I miss him. Like you can really tell like they're locked in on the family stuff. And I feel like I'm still trying to be more maternal.
Well, and that's okay too. I can get that too
it's
from
not a
you.
strength. I struggle with it every day.
Do you?
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, my husband travels a lot for work. Like even this week, I was solo parenting it from Sunday to Wednesday. Or technically to Thursday because Brandon didn't get back from Miami until Thursday. It was crazy. I mean, I had to take a mental health day because I was like, I'm going to be having a meltdown on the Schuylkill trying to go get two little people before they're 6 o'clock from two different places.
And you're on air until 5.
Yeah. And you know how the Schuylkill is. It's nuts. Like,
and you're coming from City Ave.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Into Center City almost.
Yeah, because they're both in Center City. Like their places are both in Center City. So, So I was like, I had to take a day off one day. I was like, maybe you don't need a bath tonight. Sure, you can have goldfish for dinner. I'm good with that. You don't want to brush your teeth? That's fine with me. Let's just get into bed.
Do you find it difficult to be able to balance that when your husband isn't home?
When he's home or when he's not at home?
Or both?
When he's at home, I feel like I can do more because he's, handling.
Is he very hands-on?
He's handling the things that I can't handle. Like, I don't cook.
Okay, you don't at all? And your background, your ethnicity background, you have come from some really good food.
Yeah, but
ethnicities.
Don't even look to me to like provide a meal for anybody. Like I can provide things that are easy, like cereal,
goldfish,
fruit snacks. I can DoorDash, Uber Eats.
It's my favorite meal to make is DoorDash.
Yeah, pick up a pizza. I can do all of that. The joke in my family is that I could burn water. My dad literally said that at my wedding reception. So Brandon had to learn how to cook if he was going to feed himself.
If he was going to survive.
And that's, even Clark knows like, oh, we're not doing that. Like, are you going to reheat what Dad?
Are your kids going to be one of those kids when they say, Mom cooked, I'm not hungry today?
Yeah. Or they know the strengths. They're like, could you microwave this popcorn for me? Yes. Could you get me a bowl of cereal? Yes. Could I get some fruit snacks? Yes. Water? For sure.
Anything else that requires, turning the stove on or popping something in the oven? Forget about it.
I mean, I could do scrambled eggs, but that's,
I can't. I make them into little pebbles. It's just awful. It's like I chop them up. I don't know why.
It's hard.
It takes a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort.
Cooking
I get
is
it.
a science. It's a chemistry that I don't subscribe to. So,
how long have you been a journalist?
I'm going to be aging myself.
That's okay.
Like a little over 17 years.
17 years?
A little over 17.
Well, you are aging yourself now. But as a journalist, what made you want to be a journalist? What made you say, you know what, this is what I want to do?
I like to tell stories. I like to, and not in a way where you're telling stories because you're lying. Like, I like to tell stories and inform my community.
And I think people don't realize that about journalism. Journalism is storytelling.
Yeah.
It's telling stories that people want to hear, that people need to hear, that people may not be aware of unless that story is told. But you've really told many different types of stories. It's not like you've just given, right now you are the anchor and you are telling some, really positive, community-focused.
A lot of it now is positive. A lot of it are things that I couldn't tell when I was a reporter.
As a reporter, there wasn't a lot of positive that you did. You were really focused on the traumatic part of things. And
it was all death, sadness, and destruction.
And you have gone through several riots.
Yes.
As a reporter.
Yes.
You actually experienced the riots in Baltimore.
Yes.
And that was in 2014? 15? Yeah.
That was wild.
Crazy. So you've seen riots. You've been on scenes of crimes. You've been on scenes of homicide. You've been on scenes of everything. So you've seen everything from trauma to rainbows.
Yeah. I mean, and when I think about the traumatic things that I've witnessed, and I think because most people are human and they have some sort of level of compassion, stories can hit you differently. Before I had kids, I was able to really just compartmentalize, be in it, do the job, go home, sleep easy at night. And then when I had my first child, I remember it was April 2020, so during the pandemic, I was with Albert, the best photographer, one of the best photographers. We had to go to a drive-by shooting in Old City by the Museum of the American Revolution.
Oh, okay.
And because it was an outdoor dining thing, and I guess they were eating sushi outside of a sushi restaurant over, and this van pulled up and opened fire and then drove off. And it happened late. It was 9:30, so we get sent over there at 10. And I remember the EP was you're the lead at 11, put something together, and the PIO for the Philadelphia police is going to be down there, blah, blah, blah. I was okay. We get down there, and Albert is getting a video of the scene. And it looks like any other scene that I've seen. So I'm just okay, I'm here, whatever. And then I see this frantic group of 3 women running up the street on Chestnut Street, because it's Chestnut and I don't know, 3rd or 4th.
Right.
And I have the mic, so one of the things that I always used to do when I would be out in the field is I would tuck the mic underneath, the stick mic underneath my armpit, and that way whoever I was with, if we weren't together, he could still hear me from a distance. And I was I think this is the family. You need to turn the camera and get them running up, because I'm pretty sure this is them. So he turns the camera, and she runs past me, and I can hear him oh my God, please don't let this, please don't let this be so-and-so, please don't let this be so-and-so. I was this is the family. And she let out the most agonizing wail I think I've ever heard. She was pushing the police because she was in disbelief, not because she was attacking the cops, but just I can't believe, let me see my son, let me see my son, I need to see my child, and oh God, da, da, da. And she's just crying and screaming. And I mean, I don't know why I was this is, I don't know what's happening, what's going on with me, why am I getting teary-eyed? Because normally I'd be oh, this is okay, we need to use this in the piece. But I started getting teary-eyed, and I remember earlier in that day, that was the first day that sidekick number 1 went to daycare. And, obviously first world problems. But the day that I had dropped her, that morning, I think I cried 7 times in 5 hours. My husband was like, get it together. Like literally get it together. And then I was watching this mom. So this would have been like 10 hours later, watching this mom having this breakdown, justifiably so. And I'm thinking like, she's never going to see her son ever again. And I'm going to see this newborn when she wakes up tomorrow. And went on TV. It was fine. I think I did a Instagram live with No Gun Zone about it just because I was like, this is insane. And that was the year that like everybody was getting shot. Like the homicide rate was like 600. Mm-hmm. And I went home and I like cried myself to sleep. I was like, this is absolutely insane. Like, I don't know what's wrong. I was like, the baby is making me weak. But I think also different stories will hit you differently when you go through a certain stage of your life. Yeah. And so now I think there are certain stories where I don't want to say you tell them differently, but you approach them differently. And whether it's like you need to get answers from somebody because, I don't know, they molested a child, you might go at it a little harder than, not to say that like you're not doing your job if you don't have kids, because you're still going to go hard, but you just might go at it a little bit harder because you're like, I'm a parent, like this could have been my child.
And you can approach that differently because prior to you having your first child, you didn't really relate to what it was like to have kids. And now having a child, that maternal instinct came out. And that leads you to when you talked about a little dark times there. I mean, and you were going through some things, not just professionally, but personally with your first child, correct?
Oh, yeah. The postpartum depression was so real.
And postpartum is a real thing.
And nobody talks about it.
I was going to say, it's a taboo thing. Why is that, Christie?
Nobody fucking talks about it.
And
I don't know why people don't talk about it. I don't know if it's like, you want to be strong. And like, there's this whole, I think there's a lot of pressure, especially for women, to like snap back physically, or just be like, oh, I'm embracing motherhood. It's like the best time of my life. Being pregnant was the worst time of my life. Fucking hated it. I was like, my body is betraying me. I don't know what's going on. I'm constipated. Like, it was just awful. It was so bad. My heartburn was like off the chain. And then when I had her, you have to wait. Your doctor has to sign off before you can start working out again. And I'm like a fitness enthusiast. I work out all the time. Yeah. So, and I had heard from other solid core coaches, because I go to solid core. There was a solid core coach who had a baby like a month and a half before me, and she came back too early, and she told me like her trauma story. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Like normally I'll jump back into things right away without having anybody give me permission to do it. And I was like, no, I'm going to wait because I don't want that to happen to me. Because then it set her back another 2 months and she couldn't work out because her body had to heal. So I was like, I'm not doing that. So I waited the full 6 weeks. And then I was like, okay, I'm like working out. Everything is fine. And then the world shut down and had no gym. And my daughter's pediatrician had already flagged that I was having postpartum depression because you have to fill out all these questionnaires at both your doctor and at her doctor, which also bless up for Dr. Warren. She's the best. That's the pediatrician. And then it was like too late to go find anybody because you couldn't. I mean, it wasn't too late, but I wanted to have a therapist that I already knew or that I had already like seen in person. I didn't want to have like some telehealth. Yeah,
because the world shut down. So here you were now going through probably one of the most traumatic things personally.
Everything was so fucking dark. It was just dark. Like work was dark because it was like the pandemic. It was like, I call it like 2020 was the 3 Ps: protests, police protests, the pandemic, and politics.
That's what it makes sense then during that one protest that you did go off on that guy who was
because I was like, I actually don't care. I was like, you want to do something to me? Like, great. I'll be in the hospital. I'll get a break. Somebody will take care of me. Fine. I really at that point I was like, I have nothing to lose.
Well, listen, you're tough as nails to begin with. You carry that exterior. You're tough as nails. You really are focused on what you're trying to do as far as telling your stories and getting the story you want to tell. But now all of a sudden you're showing some type of weakness in your personal life.
That was hard.
You're not used to doing.
That was really hard.
You overall are not a weak person, But now you have something that you have no control over. Postpartum isn't something you have control over. It's not like, oh, get over it. It'll be okay. You know, cry me a river, build me a bridge. It's not one of those things. This is an entire like hormonal and body and chemical and more so than that.
I think a lot of it also had to do with, and I even hate saying this, but I felt, and it was really the pandemic because just like you couldn't do anything. But I was like, I was mourning the loss of my old life. And I was in denial about my new life.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Because I was like, I don't know if I signed up to be sleep deprived and having to wake up in the middle of the night to deal with this.
Did you ever, were you that type of person that was like, I want kids?
No.
That's what, you know, no. So this was all of a sudden now you have this child.
I mean, I knew I wanted her.
Right. But
Because
you
I
weren't
love
one
my
of those
husband
like,
and I was like, I would like to have a family with you. But I was never like, oh my God, my whole life dream is to be a mom. Absolutely not.
because you're more career focused than anything.
By the time the end of 2020 came around, so it was December 2020. First of all, they say it takes a full year for your body to go back to normal.
And you only get 3 months to stay out of work.
I was out for 4, but yeah. I mean, my job was great when it came to the maternity leave, but it takes a full year for everything to like get back to normal. And by December 2020, I was like, oh, I kind of feel a little bit more like myself. And then I just remember being like, wow, I was so miserable this whole time. But if I didn't have, like, if this pandemic had not happened, I actually would not have spent the amount of time that I spent with her, because I worked at night. She would have been in daycare. I would have never seen her because she would have gone during the morning, and then my husband would have picked her up, and I wouldn't have seen her until the next morning. And because of this, a lot of my stuff was like, either I wasn't working at home, but I always pitch city stories, and then Albert would edit outside of my building. And so I would like write my stuff, I would track, and I'd say, I'm gonna go upstairs, have dinner. Do you want anything? You can come up and use the bathroom. Cause like we weren't even allowed to go into the station. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you can have access to like a real bathroom, like either mine or like the building. I mean, at that point, he like basically had a key. But I would go up and then I would see her for dinner. I would do the bath time routine with her. I would put her down and then I would go back. So I had all of this time, and then I had all of this time with her in the morning because she was like, where else? She couldn't go anywhere, so we would hang out. I had so much time with her. I had more time with her than I did with the second one in her first year. So
with sidekick number 1, and this postpartum kicking in, what was the time frame that you remember that it was where you started to like become more accepting and become more like accustomed and used to what was happening in your world with her and yourself?
A full year later.
Full year?
Yeah.
Full year of your life. I mean, I can't imagine what that's like. I mean, I know coming from addiction, I went through struggles, but I can't imagine on a different level when it's, totally a different case. If I asked you for in a couple of words, what are some of the words to describe how you felt?
In the beginning of 2020?
Yeah, in the beginning of the postpartum and stuff. This is all new to me when I talk about this, and people don't talk about it. So I
felt like my emotions were out of control. Like I felt like I didn't have any control over how I felt.
And you
like
control your emotions.
I felt like it was like a pendulum of just I would be over here, then I would be over there. Just it was a lot. I felt like I didn't have any control over how I was feeling, and that was really hard. I felt like I didn't have control over anything. I didn't feel like I had control over my body because I was trying to get used to this new weight that wasn't coming off because all of the gyms had shut down, and I was like, I don't know what's going on.
And you couldn't go work out 5 times in the morning?
I couldn't work out 5 times a day. And I didn't have any control over how I was feeling, and that was really hard. So it was just this lack of control when I was so used to being in control of myself. Mm-hmm. Maybe not the circumstances around me. Like, I'm okay with not being able to control things around me, but I am really good at being able to control how I feel, what I say. And that was really hard. Because, like that saying, you can't control how people treat you or like what's going on, but you can control how you react.
Yes.
I'm very good at that. So I'm like, okay, cool. So that didn't bother me. Like, that's why I'm like, the pandemic itself didn't bother me because I was like, I can't control this, but I can control like myself and my space. But being postpartum, like you really can't control that either. And so that's why I was like, I just feel like I'm flying around in the wind.
So it's almost like a bipolar sort of thing in your postpartum. Do you feel like a mood swings, or are you like 1 minute like happy, 1 minute like
no? But I mean, no, I would say it would be pretty even, but like something could trigger me.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a high or a low, but it was just like somebody could look at me crazy and I'd be like, snap.
What are you looking at?
Yeah. That's why I was like, send me to Kensington.
That's when Stiletto comes out.
Send me to the crime scene.
But now your sidekick number one is like your best friend, but also your biggest nemesis, huh?
And that's the second one.
The second one
The second one is because she's my twin.
She's like you, the second one.
Second
so
one
now,
is copy and paste.
So sidekick number one is going to be 5 because it was around.
It's going to be 6.
6.
I know.
6. Oh my gosh, you're old, Christy.
Six.
Sidekick number 2 is going to be how old?
She's already 3. She just turned 3 in September.
Just turned 3. So when sidekick number 2 came around, were you more mentally prepared and physically prepared?
For sure.
So when you had sidekick number 2,
I was great.
Great.
I was like, this maternity leave couldn't be better.
No postpartum?
I mean, not really. I mean, there were things that I would get blue about, but I mean, it wasn't any, it was like surface blues.
You sort of knew how to control it a little bit better or understand it? Or
yeah, I knew how to understand it. I couldn't control it, but I knew, I was like, 1, this is temporary. 2, like, it's not a big deal. But
I love that attitude.
It's okay to feel how you're feeling, but this isn't what you think it is. It's not as big as what you think it is.
And for you, somebody who doesn't show emotion too often, and I think that's
now
great.
I cry all the time.
Do you really?
Oh my God, a story comes out, I'm like, oh my God.
Do you really? I couldn't picture that.
There was a story that, so now, like you said, I do like happier things.
Yes, you do.
There was this story with PenMed. This couple, I can't remember where they live, but they live far. It was like 2 hours. Maybe it was Scranton they lived.
Yeah,
is that 2 hours?
Yeah.
The dad had like some sort of terminal something. He was in the hospital, and he had gotten the green light to come down to PenMed in Rittenhouse to have this surgery so that he could have his life extended so he could see his son get married. And then the surgery, like, I guess, I don't know what happened with it, but he wasn't allowed to leave the bedside. So they set up like a something for him to watch. And then the son and the new daughter-in-law surprised him with like another
in the room
ceremony in the room.
Yeah.
And so I remember we were doing like a talk back, Brian and I, and I like don't know why I just started. I was like, I'm getting emotional, and he was like, I know. He's like,
On
it's
air?
okay, yeah. We were talking about it, and
Were you doing one of these?
no, I think I just kind of stopped, and he's like, it's okay to be emotional about these types of stories.
And you know, that's so cool for you to say and talk about, because when you think about it and you watch people on the news, and I often sit there and I have a lot of friends that are in media, as you know, and they report some of the toughest stories sometimes. And when I talk to them, my first thing is, how do you continue to keep that straight-faced and not show some type of emotion, whether you're dealing with somebody who may be a pedophile?
Well,
you know?
for those, you don't want to show any emotion because you don't want to get sued.
Exactly.
So
So
that
that's
you
what
can't
it's all
do,
about.
yeah,
So
you
you
can't
have
do
to
that.
really train yourself, don't you? So do you bite your tongue ever sometimes?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
All the time. I mean, for me, it's more like the producer will be in my ear like, fix your face, fix your face, fix your face. When it comes like, there's the
Your
part where you're on
emotions?
air, and then there's like the part where the video comes over when you're talking. And so like when the video's on, he's like, fix your face, fix your
Listen,
face. We're coming
everybody
back
who
in
watches
5.
Christie Ileto on the news, I'm going to tell you, what you see on the news, she's awesome. You see her in person, her facial expressions will tell you everything. The minute those eyes go and she brings her head back, you're in trouble.
I'm trying to think.
Because you are very expressional.
There was one story that I was reading that was like the kicker. I was filling in for Walter on a weekend Did you see this? I think I posted about it. I don't know the way that the producer had written the story. It was about like a cat hotel.
Oh, you love animals.
I know. But it was, I don't know what happened, but the way I was talking about like the guests, they were like, oh, the guests can say da-da-da, but it was about the animals, but we were showing humans, and I remember looking at the video as I was reading this, and I was like, wow, that doesn't make any sense. And I just started laughing, and I couldn't get it together, and then I just put the paper over my face.
On air.
And Brittany had to finish she was like, join us back here for Action News at 10 on Beach. I was 17.
And it was
So
a
I was
weekend
dying.
when he's on.
Yeah, I was dying. I was crying on TV. And she was like, are you okay? I was like, not.
And
I'm unwell.
How hard is it sometimes to keep it together on several levels? Cognitively, you have to really be aware of that consciously, or is it just now at this point
I think
second
sometimes
nature?
like I'll just laugh so hard and it is what it is. If it's something that's funny, and then we'll just go to the next story.
So when you're standing in front of the big talkers board, what's behind you?
Well, most of the time that you sit, and I don't always do the big talkers.
Well, when you do your finally at
4
thing,
Oh,
and
yeah, that's
you
video.
show the video, is that the actual video behind you? It's not like that green screen like
Yeah,
they show
yeah,
stuff.
it's the actual
It's actual
video,
video.
yeah.
Okay, because I know like the weather and the traffic. It's
So
all
that's different.
that's different. That's green
different.
screen. So when you see those videos, they're actually
That's
playing
an actual
in.
video, yeah.
Oh, okay,
It's the
cool.
actual video.
Very cool. Because I always wondered, are you really looking at what's there?
Yeah.
And do you see that? And so when you talk about your stories, and then we're going to move on to something else because I have a few things I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
But
Okay.
when you talk about your stories, what was like one of the stories that stands out in your mind as being like one of the favorites and the one that was like really iconic in your mind that you got to cover and do?
Here?
Anywhere in your career, 17 years? My gosh, you started when you were 12. We know. It's cool.
I age very well. It's like God and good genes. That's hard. I have a lot of like favorites. Oh,
How
that's
about
hard.
like maybe one that might have been like on a tragedy side that you were able to cover and be a voice for and tell the story?
I would say all of the coverage of Freddie Gray in Baltimore.
And that was in 2015?
Yeah.
That's when the riots?
Yeah, so I did the first story. Like
You got
the
an
day,
Emmy for that.
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I did that. I remember doing the first story, like the day after he was in a medically induced coma. And then I think I did a story about what was going on with him every day that week, because I think it happened on like a Sunday. And then I did it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, I did it the whole week. And then they were like, I remember they said, could you work on Saturday? Because there's going to be all these protests. And I said, okay. So I came in. And there were protests, and there was a little bit of looting. And I remember it happened around the Inner Harbor, which is like the nicest part of the downtown area.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also happening like during a baseball game.
Oh, geez.
So it was crazy. And I just like never seen anything like that. I'd never been in a situation like that. I was like, wow, this is odd. But it wasn't as destructive as the Monday riot. So this was just like looting. I wouldn't consider it a riot. It was just like looting. They looted downtown, like the stores downtown. And then it I didn't think anything of it afterwards. I was like, I went home back to my parents' house because I was living in DC with where I'm from. And then I remember I was, again, also working at night, and I got a phone call, and they said, could you come in early? And I was like, why? I was like, his funeral has already happened. Like, what are we talking about? And they're like, there's something that's going to be happening at Mondawmin Mall, which is like, I'm trying to think. It's like one of those like Northeast, it's like a Franklin Mills Mall.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay. I was like, who's it supposed to, like, who's talking about it? And they're like, it's just chitter chatter among like high school kids. I was like, okay. So I come in a little early. I go out there with this photographer, these two photographers, Judy and Eric. Love both of them. One of them's passed away, but Judy's still around. She's great. And I was like, wow, there's like the helicopter's up. This is crazy. And there's like all these little kids just standing around. And it's like 2:30, and I guess maybe that's when high schools get out. Like, I don't remember my high school getting out at 2:30, but I don't know. It's been a while.
Long time for me.
What was crazy was that they were all in black, my favorite color, but they all had like the shiesties on.
Oh.
This is like before the shiesty was like a shiesty thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And so I was like, this is strange. And then, so they're like, you need to go live. So we have like the backpack de Giros, which was a new thing at that time. And it allowed you to go live anywhere. And I remember seeing like the first rock hurl across, I think it was like North and Penn at the time. I think that was the intersection. Across the road at the police, some of whom had riot gear on. And then I see 5 more, and then I see 10. And then I was like, this is happening. I was like, I've never seen anything like this before. Like, I'm actually watching like police officers like under fire.
Getting pelted by rocks.
And bricks by little kids.
And you're standing right there.
At the time, it started by like teenagers. But if you're a younger sibling and you're like, you call your big brother, you call your uncle, you call whoever, and then that's when and then the CVS went up in flames. I got maced accidentally. You
got maced?
Yeah, twice on live TV.
By?
Cops. Accidentally.
But
one of them was just because like he was just spraying indiscriminately and like the wind.
That's definitely not an accident. Then that's careless. But
I got hit with mace, and that was painful. And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm dying." I was like, "I'm blind."
But you stayed, and
oh my god, I kept going.
Did you like use the water on you?
No, I guess he was like with the Maryland Transit Authority, MTA. They have like it's not as nice as the DC Metro, but they do have their little subway system there in Baltimore. And he was like, "You need milk," and he just started like, he got some milk from CVS and was like. It worked.
It worked.
I was like, thank you.
And you went right back on air.
And I went right back.
Covered in milk?
I mean, I think one of the photographers was like, here, you got this.
Block that off your face.
Yeah. Here, let me give you, I don't remember. Maybe it was a towel. I don't remember. Or maybe it was a T-shirt. I don't know, but it was something. But yeah, that was crazy. And I think the reason why I felt like that was so important was obviously what they were doing was not okay. Mm-hmm. But you also have to understand that this is coming from a systemic issue that hadn't been addressed. We're talking about police brutality. You're talking about racial profiling. You're talking about a community that's been disenfranchised and gets treated differently, not by everybody that wears a badge, but maybe by some. And if you're a person of color, you know that does exist. You will get, it doesn't, and it could be with anything. Like you could get spoken to differently when you go into a store. You can get spoken to differently when you're going through TSA. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's not just police, it's any interaction. Like you can get spoken to differently by somebody on the street just because of the color of your skin. And so a lot of that, and I'm not saying that this guy was innocent because like he had a rap sheet. But would this have happened had he not been who he was? You never know, but possibly.
It's interesting you say that because, racial profiling is huge nowadays. I mean, it's gotten even worse, in our today's society. And you being a person of color, because you're Blasian, correct? Black, Asian. Do you ever worry about that for yourself, for your children, or anything along those lines? Is that something that you think about in your head because of what you deal with?
I'm acutely aware of how people could perceive me. And I know when I'm going into certain rooms or speaking to certain people, or even if I have to go out, which I don't go out on stories like that often, but if it happens to be a story where, you know, a group of people or an individual, this might be their first time interacting with somebody who looks like me, I'm acutely aware of how I need to be, because I don't want to be the reason why they write somebody off who looks like me.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I'm very aware that if I'm your first interaction, I want it to be a pleasant one, so that the next time you interact with somebody who looks like me, you can have a good interaction with them too, or at least give them the benefit of the doubt. And then as far as my kids, yeah, I think I'm really, because I grew up in such a diverse area, like the DC areas, the suburbs are truly like the best place to grow up, because you can literally live around everybody from all walks of life. I really want to create that for my kids. And that's why I really like being in the city. And I wanted them to be city kids and go to a city school. And I feel like the school community that they go to is very, it's not homogenous.
Okay.
They experience all different types of things.
And you are very, you're very all much about showing your kids culture and different aspects of life. So sidekick number 1 learned Spanish with her first.
She has the ear. And we got into it this week because the youngest
You got into it with your 6-year-old.
Yeah, because the youngest one, she goes through these phases where she's like, she whines. She doesn't want to use her words. I'm like, use your words. And she's like, help. And I was like, en español. And she's like, no. And I was like, I said, puedes decir me ayudes tú? And the oldest one was like, that's not how you say, can you help me? And then she said it her way. I think it was, puedes ayudar, por favor. And so I was like, no, I'm pretty sure it's me ayudes tú, based on the Amazon Prime videos that I'm watching in Spanish. And she's like, Profesora Rebecca said it's whatever.
So she was right?
Wow. So then I asked one of my coworkers, because we have a couple of coworkers who are bilingual, and I was like, is she right or am I right? She's like, you're both right. She said, your daughter asked it in general, like, can you, as in general, help me? Versus you were saying it would be like, Britt, can you help me? Like, Britt, me ayudes tú?
Very specific, like a more formal.
You help me. And she's like, you're both right. But it's funny that she's tried to correct you.
So now does the second one, does she?
Kind of. I mean, we have somebody who comes and watches the girls who speaks Spanish, and she only speaks to them in Spanish. The oldest one will talk back, and the youngest one has an ear, and she will just follow the directions. So if she gets directions in Spanish,
Why Spanish?
It's the most commonly spoken language in the world.
Just was, curious.
Because I want them to listen to Benito.
Yeah. So they can watch, what was the name of that Disney movie?
Oh, Encanto?
Yeah, Encanto.
They love Encanto.
Yeah, of course. There you go.
They love Encanto. They listen to Bad Bunny.
Do they really?
Only, not all of them, because some of his lyrics are yikes, but the wholesome ones, like DTMF.
Oh, they're going to be culture for sure. And you came from the Baltimore area, which Baltimore is very much a parallel to Philly in a little bit of ways.
I think it's a smaller Philadelphia.
Definitely. It's a definitely smaller Philadelphia. That's why I think I like Baltimore. I like Baltimore so much better than New York, because it has more of a Philly vibe and more of a Philly. I think it's because of the city of neighborhoods.
I could see that. I'm biased because I'm from the DC area. So for me, everything is DC. And that's why I'm like I think the best parts of Philadelphia remind me of the district.
Oh.
The best parts
the
best parts of Philadelphia remind me of the district.
Is that why then, because we mentioned at the very beginning and how we met, like you really have a special affinity to the Kensington neighborhood and to the work that's going on in Kensington, to the organizations. You're very supportive. You're a voice for the harm reduction organizations. You're a voice for those who are unsheltered. You're a voice for the substance use community. You have touched on some of the stories over there that some other journalists in the city of Philadelphia have been afraid to come near. Like I've seen some of them come in there with their eyes wide open like deers in headlights, trying to do a story. And you'll come in there and you really are natural and at ease and comfortable. How is that? I mean, it's a special area to be natural and comfortable in.
I mean, honestly, I don't know. Because if you saw like where I grew up, it's nothing like.
Oh, I know
It's a
that area. I had
suburban-
friends from that area.
It's like a charmed suburban life. Like,
Well, I mean, it's a more privileged area than you would be in Kensington.
I think because my dad always talks to me about where he's from, with the Philippines, which is a third world country.
Your father's Filipino?
And the things that his family did to get over here. In my mind, I'm like, you know, it's the same. I mean, his village did not have addiction, people who were battling addiction. That was not a thing in Bulacan. And I'm sure there were probably people there, but it wasn't like an
It's the same
epidemic.
type of economical status.
Yeah.
you
And
know.
so I think that's what I guess in my mind, I'm like, that's what I see when I come to Kensington is I think about my dad and his village.
Because I will tell you that when you are there, I mean, and we've done many stories together in Kensington, whether it's been at the Garden, whether it's been on the streets, whether it's been about the overdose awareness or the gun violence, whatever it's been, you have a very natural ease and people are very drawn to you. And usually
They're
news...
people. I think that's the thing is because they're people who just want a better life like everybody else, or they just want to have stability and they want to have basic necessities that everybody else already has. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, why would I treat you any differently? Like, if I can help you, then why wouldn't I help you?
And I love it because when people see you, they're like, Christie Ileto. And because let's face it, news and cameras aren't welcome that much in Kensington. They're almost frowned upon, and people look at you like, get out of here with that. But you'll show up and you're good. But you've taken it one step further than that, though. Not only do you support myself and Philly Unknown and the other organizations and what you do, you also believe that the work that we do is very important, that you have already connected with me with sidekick number one and gone out to the streets and done outreach. Why was that important to take your child at the time who was 4 years of age?
I think she was 3.
Because it just popped up in my memories feed. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah, so she was 3, about to be 4.
Yeah. And you took her out there. And why would you do that? Why? I mean...
Well, so she said something super disrespectful to me, and she said, I only wear new pajamas. And I was like, oh, time for a field trip. Because you have no money, and you live the life that I provide for you.
You're a 3-year-old entitled
you're
girl.
Literally 3. And I was like, we're going to go and do some community service so that you can see how other little kids in the city live. And not everybody lives like you. So you need to like get this together. And so we went down there, and like my husband was like, where are you taking my child? And I was like, I'm taking her to Kensington. And he was like, well, that's fine if you go, but could you like just please don't do anything reckless with her, because like this is also my child. It's like, I got you. I'm not going to put her in harm's way, but she needs to like see what's life is like outside of Center City. And so it was what I loved about that experience was that she really was taking everything in, and then at the same time gave a lot of commentary that only a child would give.
Interesting commentary, too.
It was interesting, right? Like, we saw somebody, I think you had to call the cops because somebody overdosed. And her reaction was, is he taking a nap? And so I was like, everybody needs a rest, but we're going to get him some help just to make sure it's just a rest. And then the fire trucks came, and she was like, oh my God, Marshall, because she's like into Paw Patrol.
Okay.
She was like, Marshall's here to the rescue. And I was like, yeah, Marshall's going to rescue him. Just make sure he's really taking a nap. And then we went on to like the next thing.
Well, as we were heading down the street, and she even got a couple bucks.
Literally made $12 off a corner boy, which was actually kind of like terrifying in the sense that I didn't want to take the money. And he was like, you're going to take this money. And I was like, I'm going to take this money.
And you gave it right to Philly Unknown, which was great.
Philly Unknown.
But it was when we say it was a person who was out there dealing and making their, but you took your daughter out and you paid it forward to them. So you also were able to experience it yourself on a different side.
Right. And it was nice because then when I said, do you see, these individuals that are on the sidewalks and how they're hungry and you've passed out some food to them? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, what do you think about this neighborhood? And she goes, there's more birds here. That was your takeaway?
I remember this.
And she's like, yeah, there's like so many more birds here. Okay, great. Well, I'm glad that's your takeaway. Like, that's not everybody's takeaway of Kensington, but you ask.
It's funny. I never even noticed the birds in
Kensington. You ask her about Kensington, she's like, there's so many birds there. I don't know why that is. Well, we have to schedule another one of those so you can bring sidekick number 2 now. Oh, you know, that princessa. We'll give it another year or so with that. So you've been out there for 17 years doing what you do. You have a passion for it. You are good at it. You're one of the few that, like I said, well, listen, you've been good to me. You tell the story the way I tell you, and that gets a lot of props there. That's total cred for me. That if I'm going to tell somebody a story and they're going to use that verbatim or exactly and not sort of twist it to make it a story. Well, I tell the facts, but I'm not going to misrepresent you. And that's why you're so widely respected. And you've gone from a shift of doing the hard-hitting, traumatic, dramatic, you know, some of the worst stories you could tell to people, especially in the evening, to now doing daytime, and you're killing it. You're out there filling in morning anchors Monday through Sunday. You're out there filling in for the noon anchor. I never, you're doing your 4 o'clock. You know, now you're at the big board. You're at the big talkers or whatever. You're doing the news at 4. You are part of that, you know, the anchor team at 4. You're not stopping, are you? I need to take a break. I know that. I always get those emails when I stop accruing vacation because they're like, you need to take a break. So what do you do when you take a break? What do you do for yourself? I come here because I'm off today. I know, and just your day off and you're sitting here with me, which I'm very, very much appreciative of, and I mad respect for that. But I mean, like, other than solid core, when you're there, you know, doing, you know, pounding it out for 2 hours, and instructors probably have to throw you out some days. Yeah. What do you do for Christie? Well, lately when I'm off, I'd like to go to mass at 12 o'clock. That's what I do. So religious, spiritual, or? I'm a very spiritual person. I find like... You have a lot of faith. Trying to get there. I find peace in going to mass for some reason. I don't know. Just, I've always leave calmer and more settled. And they're just, you know, there's things that, I mean, life happens to us all. I wouldn't say that, like, I've had any rough years, but I mean, you have things that, like, don't work out or don't go the way that you plan. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm a planner. So those are things that I struggle with. I struggle with black and white. I struggle with things that don't go my way. And I find it's something that I'm trying to work on. And so I go to mass a lot during the week when I can to kind of just like get there. You have a certain church you go to each time? So we are parishioners at the cathedral. Okay, so when you said every day, I figured the cathedral would be the place. Yeah, I go to the cathedral. They have like a 7:15 mass and then a 12:05 mass that I like to go to. Now? No, I drive. I used to walk, but I drive now. But I think one of the things that I've also been trying to accept that I was like struggling with was for the last like 3 years is trusting like the divine timing of your life. You know, you think again, this is how I want it to go. Mm-hmm. And then doors close, mm-hmm. unexpected doors open. You're like, am I supposed to walk through this? Because this is not what I want to do. But you know that you like may not have the grace that you used to have in a certain place, and now it's going somewhere else and you have to go there. And so just trying to trust the timing of your life is really challenging, but it's also something that I'm working on. Especially for you since you're such a planner. Yeah. It's really hard. It is hard. So that's really cool to hear you say that you're mellowing a little bit. I don't know if I'm mellowing, but it's more of just like trying to let go of the plan. Like my plan. Be a little more gentle with yourself? Being open. There you go. Being open to things that I didn't want to be open to. Are these like things you can't control? I mean, some of it is, but I mean, I think it's just like, you know, you think like this is, I don't want to, because I have a very blessed life, okay? I'm not, this isn't like a complaining or a complaint. It's more, you think that you would have achieved certain things by a certain age, and you're like, but why didn't this happen? Or why didn't it go this way? Because this is what I wanted. And then sometimes I hear in my spirit, but I have something better for you. I close that door because I have a bigger door for you. You were thinking too small. I have a bigger purpose for you. And there is a lot of crying in the waiting room, right? Like, I've been in a waiting room for a minute, and I'm like, did you forget about me? What's happening? Like, when am I walking through that door? And that's hard too. So it's that's why I say I'm really working on trusting the divine timing of my life.
Love this. I really like that a lot. That puts things into perspective. And is that hard for you to do, to trust that?
It's so hard. Yes, so much. There are moments where I'll like cry in the car and I'm like, I don't understand why it's taking so long. And then there are times when I'm like, I'm really happy and I'm okay waiting. And then there are other days where I'm like, let's make it happen now.
It's not going fast enough.
It's not going fast enough.
That's amazing. I mean, it's really cool to look at that perspective, to have that perspective in your mind, knowing this.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't have to be from a spiritual thing either. It could be like, universe, why isn't this happening? Yeah. Like, I've done all the right things. I'm showing up every day. I'm giving my best. Like, I feel like I'm in alignment. Like, why isn't it happening now? And it's because it's not on my timetable. It's on his.
My gosh, I love this.
Welcome to my TED Talk.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. I don't even know, Christie, you sort of just like left me for a loss for words for the first time ever. You know, that's amazing. So if you could go back to, you know, that 17, 18-year-old Christie, who was really
She was crazy.
Oh, I'm sure she was. You're still a little crazy now.
I'm totally crazy.
Absolutely.
I'm very comfortable with my crazy, though.
Yeah, it's just the craziness you've owned. You've come into it. But, you know, and you could, you know, maybe give her some, not even advice, but like words of wisdom or comfort or something. What would you say to her? Knowing what you know now.
Everything's going to work out. Everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. I always knew that I wanted to be a journalist. I always wanted to be an anchor. I still have other goals that I always wanted to do that I know that are going to happen, just not on my timetable. But the things, it's actually really funny because it's not funny in the sense that this is ha ha ha. But
right.
One of my mentors said to me, enjoy the process because you are living the life that you prayed for, that you once prayed for. And I remember going back into a journal from 2011 and I looked at a goal / prayer that I had written down. And I was like, oh my God, I'm literally living this. I'm living this life that I prayed to a T.
That's awesome.
Everything.
That's sort of
like
chilling a little
my
bit.
family life, my career. The only difference was I wasn't doing it at home. Like I wasn't with my family, like with my parents at home.
Right.
So like it wasn't like we had the house and whatever and the job and whatever in DC. But outside of that, I mean, it actually was better. Because I think about like, would I have wanted to go back home? Now at this point in my life, I don't know. I don't think I would be as happy as I am here. And that's why I'm like, again, going back to, why did you close that door? Because I have a better door for you.
So you're willing to accept that now and move forward with that.
When I look back at other things, when my mentor was like, you are literally living the life that you were working towards like 15 years ago.
That's awesome.
I was like, and that's why I would say to that 18-year-old, it's going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. Like, relax.
It'll be okay.
It's going to be okay. Just like I have to tell myself for the other things that I want to do, it's going to work out the way it's supposed to work out.
Was that 18-year-old very high strung as well?
She was crazy.
So not much has changed. So on a personal note, you're celebrating an anniversary?
Oh, yeah. 2 days ago, yeah.
2 days ago was your wedding anniversary. How many years you got there?
9.
9 years. Has it been an easy 9 years? So
Girl,
it's not.
This year has been so tough. It's been great, but it's been tough.
You've moved this year, though.
That was
one of the biggest stressors.
That was stressful. That was so stressful. First of all, moving with 2 kids is so insane. I think I lost like 5 pounds in like 4 weeks because I was so stressed out.
Don't need to go to solid core anymore.
I mean, I didn't need to go to solid core. I was just like sleep deprived and not eating and trying to like box everything up and purge and trying to deal with movers and clothes. It was nuts.
But 9 years of marriage, how long were you together before that?
7 years.
So
this man made me wait. And then before that, I had met him 2 years before we started dating. I gave him my number.
So 18 years of knowing him.
I gave him my number, and then he didn't call me for 2 years. And then we started dating. And then by year 4, I was like, because all my friends were already either engaged or married. And I wasn't like a crazy, oh my God, I need to get married. But by year 4, I was kind of like,
hello,
what's happening?
It's a little cold here on this finger.
And he does not like to be rushed. He's very, he's very meticulous. And I waited a long time for this hardware. Long time.
But it's been worth it.
It's been worth it.
It's been worth it.
He's great.
And for those out there who want to follow you, if they're not following, and if you're not following Christie Ileto out there on social media, you should. She has some really great entertaining social media, especially if she does her story feed.
Oh my God, now I'm on TikTok.
What?
Well, I have been on TikTok, but I just really never posted.
I was going to say, wait, you're on TikTok now?
And now I post on TikTok.
You do? Mm-hmm. Wow. So she's on TikTok. So if you're looking to follow, if they want to follow you on Instagram, it's
Christie_Ileto.
And if they want to follow you on TikTok,
Ileto Stiletto.
Ileto Stiletto.
That's my college nickname.
Yeah, Stiletto is that little incognito name. That's that, second persona sort of.
Yeah.
But that's cool because you're doing, one thing I wanted to say on behalf of myself and everybody in Philly, that you have told so many good stories to some of the most vulnerable populations, about some of the most vulnerable populations, and you continue to come back and you continue to support us, whether it's supporting groups like NOMO or supporting groups like Philly Unknown or anything else. You keep doing that, and you are an icon.
Stop.
And you are appreciated. And I'm not saying that because I know you.
I'm not out there doing the work like you, though. You're like...
But if it weren't for you telling everybody about our work, we wouldn't be able to continue on doing it on such good levels.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And thanks for being so open and vulnerable. I know sometimes it's difficult when people look at you in a different light. It's almost like seeing your teacher in the grocery store. Oh my God, is that Christie Ileto from Channel 6?
Oh my God, I'm like a hot mess all the time.
Yeah.
I can get it together when the lights come on.
Did you wear makeup today?
No. You're lucky you got jeans.
I didn't even wear my joggers because they weren't clean, so we're good.
Brandon was like, are you really wearing workout wear? Did you shower? Are you going straight from solid core? I was like, yeah, I probably should shower.
Well, I'm fortunate and blessed that you showed up. I'm fortunate and blessed to have you in my world. Not just as the fact of Christie Ileto from Channel 6 Action News. That is not who I look at you as. When people say Christie Ileto and they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, Christie Ileto, because you become a friend and you've become a confidant and you're somebody that I truly respect. So keep doing that work. Keep telling those stories. Keep being that mother that you're being to those 2 sidekicks, because they're going to learn that lesson and you're going to be like, this was all worth it. I know it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you for taking the time out of your life, your busy life, to show up, to spend some time, to tell those stories. And if you're ever worried about what's going on in your world, I mean, Christie shared some of the, most personal things. I mean, most people won't open up about postpartum. That's something you don't hear about. You know what? She's an open book to that. Reach out to her. I mean, she's not a therapist, but she can at least give you some words of wisdom, or, you're not alone. And that's something that you share with people, that they're not alone, whether it's on your newscast or in personal life. So thank you. You got it. Thanks for showing up today.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. Everybody else out there, thank you for showing up. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, follow Christie Ileto on all her social media channels. And remember, whatever it is you stand for, everybody, be a voice. This is Britt James Carpenter on Usula Media. Have a great rest of your day.